Hey everybody, it's your buddy John again, and I'm just here to add on to what I did earlier because I just wanted to add a little bit more to what I was saying earlier. But earlier I did the Netflix and Prime Video, so let me go ahead and talk about what I got on Hulu and Direct and Disney Plus for the watch list that I'm planning on doing since I have plenty of time on my hands now. So, on Hulu, I've got Tyrant, which is a series they did on FX, which is about a guy who's becomes, I guess, the leader of a fictional Middle Eastern nation, and that was a series for a bit on FX. So I'm going to watch that. Then FX did Fosse Verdun, which was, I'll probably watch that, see how it is. Nip Tuck, I'm going to give that a try. Sopranos, I may finally sit down and watch. Veep, which is one of my favorite actresses, is Julia Louis-Dreyfus. I do have a crush on her. Mrs. America, which is about Phyllis Schlafly, the right-wing demagogue, in my opinion, who I actually saw once debate, and I can't remember the person she debated. It's on my tip of my tongue. I don't know if it was Molly Ivins or somebody else. But, there's the documentary Hillary, which I may watch. Homeland, which I really need to watch. Then there's a series called The First. Sean Penn leads an ensemble cast of this near-future drama about a crew of astronauts attempting to become the first humans on Mars. Under the direction of visionary aerospace magnate Laz Ingram, Natasha McElhone, the crew contends with peril and personal sacrifice to undertake the greatest pioneering feat in human history. Yeah, I'll definitely watch that. Then there's Catch-22, which is about, obviously, the Joseph Heller novel. Catch-22 follows the adventures and misadventures of a U.S. Army squadron in Italy in World War II. Yossarian, a bombardier whose frantic obsession every time he goes up on a mission is to come down alive. I'm sure he wasn't the only one like that. His odds of success are at such a simple aim that His odds of success at such a simple aim keep getting worse because Colonel Carthart keeps raising the number of missions men have to fly. More than the retreating Germans, the real enemy for Yossarian and his ragtag bunch of friends is the bureaucracy, the military, inverting logic at every turn. The pinnacle of this is Catch-22, a military bylaw which states that if you fly your missions, you're crazy and don't have to fly them. All you have to do is ask, but if you ask not to, then you're sane, and so you have to fly them. Okay. All right. Kind of reminds me of that. Then there's HBO's Dollface, which is the only reason I didn't watch this is Kat Dennings. I have a crush on Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings stars a young woman who, after being dumped by her longtime boyfriend, must deal with her own imagination when she literally and metaphorically re-enters the world of women in order to rekindle the female friendships she left behind. I'm just going to watch that for Kat Dennings. I'm sorry. I gotta watch that. There's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Barbarians Rising, which tells the story of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire from the perspective of the barbarian rebel leaders who helped to bring it down. Orville, which I have not watched because I've not had the time. And then there is Blackadder, which I need to watch. The whole series. I've watched most of the episodes, but not all of them. Looming Tower. I definitely need to watch that. That's really good. For those of you who don't know, The Looming Tower is based upon the Pulitzer Prize-winning book. The Looming Tower traces the rising threat of Osama bin Laden, who died 9 years ago today because of SEAL Team 6. Thank you very much. and Al-Qaeda in the late 1990s, and how the rivalry between the FBI and the CIA during that time may have inadvertently set the path to the tragedy of 9/11. The series follows members of the I-49 Squad in New York and Alex Station in Washington, D.C., the counterterrorism divisions of the FBI and CIA, respectively, as they travel the world fighting for ownership of information, but seemingly working toward the same goal, trying to prevent the imminent attack on the United States. I definitely have to watch that. Deutschland 83 follows Martin Rock, a young spy caught between two worlds who is sent by the East German Intelligence Service, the HVA, to discover NATO's military intentions. Set against the backdrop of fervent political feeling and the threat of nuclear war, Martin must leave everything he knows for a new life undercover in the West. But nothing and no one is as they seem. Every friend is a potential enemy. Every enemy is a potential asset. And the stakes couldn't be higher. Deutschland 83 is the first German-language series to be broadcast on an American network, with wall-to-wall critical acclaim from the U.S. press. Then there's Black Sails, which was the pirate drama from Stars. Truth and Lies, Watergate, War and Peace, which is based upon the novel, as you probably well know, The Aristocratic Families, and I'm not going to mention their names, but because they're Russian, I can always pronounce it. Vikings, I got to watch. Atlantis, I got to watch. Dollhouse, I got to watch, which is the Joss Whedon series between him doing Firefly and Buffy and him doing the Marvel movies. So, yeah, there's that. Kennedys, which I've watched the first series of. And watched the other. Brockmire I got to watch because he's a sportscaster. Once upon a time I wanted to be a sportscaster. 11/22/63, which is the Stephen King novel about somebody going back in time and trying to stop the Kennedy assassination. And there's others. Bastard Executioner, Manhattan, The Fallout Begins. Manhattan, which is the WGN America series I did a few years back. What else? Harlots, which is interesting. For those of you who don't know, Margaret Wells struggles to recognize Margaret Wells struggles to reconcile her role as brothel owner and mothers to daughters Charlotte and Lucy. With her business coming under attack from Lydia Quigley, a rival madam with a ruthless streak, Margaret must fight back, even if it means losing her family and possibly her life. Okay. Future Man. Future Man stars Josh Hutcherson from the Hunger Games as Josh Futureman, a janitor by day, gamer by night, who is recruited by mysterious visitors to travel through time in order to prevent the extinction of humanity. Which sounds cheesy, but there's The Handmaid's Tale, which you gotta watch because I have a thing for Elizabeth Moss. A woman forced into sexual servitude struggles to survive in a terrifying totalitarian society. Rather critically acclaimed. And let's see what else. Nothing really nothing really out there in Hulu right now. Let's go to Disney Plus and see what I got on my watch list there. Hang on a second. Let me do something real quick. Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. I had to do something real quick. On Disney, it's basically John Carter, John Carter, Tomorrowland, Tron Legacy, The Black Hole. Unidentified Flying Oddball. Do they actually have this on here now? Oh, they do. This is one of those shows. I wondered if they're actually ever going to get this, but they actually have it on here now. It's one of those old Disney movies that a lot of folks don't. And the reason I want to watch this is because it inspired my novel Final Frontier. because it has the Stardust shuttle, which in the unidentified flying oddball, it's the space shuttle is called Stardust. And in addition to all the Disney and Marvel movies that I'm going to watch on this thing, so on Monday we've got all that. So yeah, let me talk you to Stars for just a second and tell you what I want to watch there. I don't have HBO or Showtime, although I'm kind of tempted to try Showtime's 30-day trial just to see, since I'm going to be off. And HBO is just too expensive. And Stars, I got a deal on that. So, do I have this playlist? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Fargo, Jackie Brown, The Truman Show, Pulp Fiction, Maximilian, and Marie de Bourgogne, whatever. So yeah, by the way, I now have actually a job interview at 2:45. Hey! So a staffing agency, we'll see how it goes. Sons of Liberty, the true stories of different men fighting in the American colonies for freedom and how they will shape the future of the United States. Maximilian, after the death of Charles the Bold in 1477, his only child is a girl who cannot rule lest she marries. Meanwhile, in Austria, Emperor Friedrich and his antagonist Friedrich III and antagonist Louis XI battle over said marriage. Okay, Charlie Wilson's War, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Da Vinci Code, The Big Lebowski, Tron Legacy, which is obviously on Disney, World Without End, which is about, set in the 1300s, England amid natural disasters, plague, and war, leading up to the 100 Years' War. Then there's Camelot. In the wake of King Uther's sudden death, chaos threatens to engulf Britain. When the sorcerer Merlin has visions of a dark future, he installs the young and impetuous Arthur, Uther's unknown son and heir. But Arthur's cold and ambitious half-sister Morgan will fight him to the bitter end, and summoning unnatural forces to claim the crown in this epic battle of control. There are dark times indeed for this new king, with Guinevere being only shining light in Arthur's harsh world. Faced with profound moral decisions and the challenge of uniting a kingdom broken by war and steeped in deception, Arthur will be tested beyond imagination. Forget everything you think you know. This is a story of Camelot that has never been told before. Okay, maybe it's not historically accurate. There's Ash vs. Evil Dead. The only reason I'm watching this is because of Lucy Lawless. American Gods, based upon the novel by Neil Gaiman. Then you got Apollo 13, The Constant Gardener, Queen, Scarface, Spartacus, The Black Sails, which I mentioned earlier. The Pillars of the Earth, which is, if I can get to it, emerging from the war-torn shadows of England's Dark Ages, an idealistic mason sets out on a quest of erecting a glorious cathedral. The White Queen is a riveting portrayal of one of the most dramatic and turbulent times in English history. This epic begins in war-torn 1464 and is uniquely told through the perspective of three different yet equally relentless women: Elizabeth Woodville, Margaret Beaufort, and Anne Neville. In their quest for power, they will scheme, manipulate, and seduce their way onto the English throne. Interesting. The White Princess charts one of the most tumultuous times in British history, uniquely from the viewpoint of the women waging the battle for power. And then there is the Spanish Princess, which is the vivid, captivating tale of reclaiming. Is the vivid and captivating reclaiming of Catherine of Aragon's story, which has historically been overshadowed by her infamous marriage to King Henry VIII. And that's it. So there's other titles I can add to the playlist later on, but Anyhow, that's my list on Stars. So What else? I did Disney, I did Hulu, I did Stars. ESPN Plus is pretty much all the 30 for 30 stuff. Apple TV. For All Mankind is the one show I really want to watch on here. Let's see what else they've got. Originals. Defending Jacob. Trying Beastie Boys story. I might watch that. Home, which... discover the groundbreaking ideas and inspiring stories behind the world's most imaginative dwellings. I don't think so. Ghost Rider, which is a kids series. The Morning Show, I might watch that because it's got Jennifer Aniston, who still looks marvelous at 50 some odd years old. It's hard to imagine she's 50. It's like J-Lo at the Super Bowl. For All Mankind, you should watch this. NASA is in crisis as the Soviets land the first man on the moon in 1969, the beginning of an alternate history. Now, for those of us who know our history, we know that the Soviets were actually trying to get a man on the moon before us here in the United States. Thing is, what a lot of folks don't realize is that, yes, they were actually trying, but they couldn't do it because they had a very dangerous rocket called the N-1. They launched it 4 times. All 4 times unmanned. All 4 times it blew up after launch. So yeah, and the Russian methodology was to research on the fly, which is basically build the rocket and then launch it, and if it blows up, then you find out why it blew up, and then you fix the problems. Well, they could never figure out the problems, and plus there were some major changes going on in the Soviet Union around that time. So yeah, there is definitely that. So yeah, there is a lot to talk about. But anyhow, with me out of work right now, although if I got a text from somebody from a staffing company for a machine operator assistant position. So I'm going to talk to them later today, and we shall see what we shall see. So there is definitely that. I'm going to look into this to see how things go. We'll let you know later on. But that just literally happened as I was doing this podcast. So I'm not going to mention the staffing company. Hopefully it's not too far away, but we shall see. So, for everybody here at RSN, and we'll be getting to do more RSN podcasts in the near future, I'm John Thomas Hill. Good day, good luck, and may the good news be yours.